Lewis Hamilton has hit out at those keen to analyze where he sits within F1's pantheon, with the 7-time world champion stating that he can't be compared to another 40-year-old in the sport, past or present. Hamilton is an undisputed F1 great, with the records for wins and poles, and equal record with Michael Schumacher for most titles. But the Brit says he is in a league of his own. "I'm the first and only black driver that's ever been in the sport," he told Time magazine. "I'm built different. I've been through a lot. I've had my own journey." Ex-Grand Prix driver Alan McNish has backed Alpine's full-time rookie Jack Doohan, stating that the Australian has his backside in a seat because he's delivered for the squad. Doohan, who got his F1 debut last year in Abu Dhabi and allegedly has a 4 to 6 race probationary period written into his contract, is under huge pressure to be on the pace from Australia, with highly rated reserve driver Franco Colapinto waiting in the wings. But McNish says that Doohan simply has to take the opportunity that he's been given and make the most of it. He's a strong-headed character, and from that perspective, he's been in and around the sport a long time, he said. It's not as if it's a surprise that there's different factions going on. (1996) world champion Damon Hill says Red Bull driver Max Verstappen would cry like a baby if his rivals raced as he does. The Dutch driver came under fire last year for controversial overtakes he made at races like Mexico and Abu Dhabi, where Verstappen went deep under braking but came unstuck. And Hill says while the Dutchman correctly interpreted to his advantage the rule about overtaking and being ahead at the apex on the inside, it's likely he wouldn't accept it if the tables were turned. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't do that, and it's exciting to see people dive down the inside, Hill said, except that no other driver does it, and if someone was to do it to him, he'd cry like a baby. Mercedes chief Toto Wolff says unusually cold temperatures during preseason testing in Bahrain has failed to answer whether the squad's W16 will perform better in hotter conditions. Mercedes has high hopes its new car will end its recent lean spell in the sport, with just 5 wins in the last 3 campaigns, 4 of which were taken in 2024. But while the squad ended testing with the 4th fastest time overall, care of George Russell on day 3, Wolff is hoping that its approach in building a more stable car pays off.
Well, it's been a few years now into these regulations, and the car was never happy. The drivers felt it was unpredictable, so this is the main area that we concentrated on to make a car that's a little bit better in the low-speed corners, while it's not handicapping us in the high speed.
Racing Bulls driver Yuki Tsunoda says he's aiming for his maiden podium in F1 this year, with expectations his squad can finish much higher in the constructors' standings than the 8th place it scored last year. 2025 is Tsunoda's 5th campaign at the pinnacle of motorsport, with his best race result 4th, though that came at the end of his first season in 2021, when the squad was known as AlphaTauri. But Tsunoda, who shook the V-Carbo 2 car down at classic Italian track Imola with teammate Isaac Hadjar ahead of Bahrain preseason testing, said the Minnow squad was aiming high in 2025.
I want to see that car in the podium. You know, so far we're able to achieve the best delivery out of any cars in the grid. So if the performance follows that, that would be ideal.
New Haas recruit Esteban Ocon is keeping his powder dry ahead of this month's season opener in Australia, with the Frenchman just wanting to lock in with the American squad first. Ocon joined Haas following 5 seasons spent at Enstone squad Alpine, where he won a race, the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2021. But while Haas's first race-winning driver is keen to build towards future success with the American squad, Ocon is taking it step by step to make sure he's properly hooked up to be able to deliver.
We integrate well with the team, getting to know, everyone, and just working well with everyone. That's going to be the first objective, and improve from where we are. It doesn't matter which position we are. I think the important is to always move forward, and at the moment, this is the target I'm setting myself.
The FIA's World Motorsport Council has confirmed that Monaco will have extra mandatory stops for this year's race, with at least 3 sets of tires required and 2 different compounds if it's dry. Monaco's layout has largely remained unchanged since 1929, despite the cars having outgrown the track, meaning qualifying plays a huge part in a driver's race results. Red Bull boss Christian Horner spoke on the change ahead of F1's group launch, with the sport needing an alternative solution to improve Sunday's spectacle, given the track layout is fixed.
Particularly with these cars as big as they are now, the race is very much dictated by the Saturday. So, and what we saw last year was, if you get a red flag early on and everybody just puts another tyre on, then it's very static. So stating that you have to use potentially all 3 compounds brings in another element. So it becomes a 2-stop race, and should it rain as well, there would also be a mandatory 2-stop. So it's unique to that race, and it's really due to the nature of the circuit.
Ferrari says the squad will be on the limit with power units this year, with the need to balance its 2025 and 2026 projects. The Scuderia goes into the season with the intention to secure both titles, but its campaign on the power unit side will be limited by dyno hours, with the operation full steam ahead for F1's next era. Strong pre-season preparation has therefore been crucial, says Enrico Gualtieri, Ferrari's power unit technical director.
We will have the lowest amount of dyno hours available to work on with the current project. And this is the kind of a challenge that I'm expecting for this season. On one side, we will have to cope with the further severity usage in our components, but at the same time, we will have the lowest capacity and capability in terms of dyno hours available to react to any single unexpected event.
Sauber boss Mattia Binotto has reiterated that Audi still has a long way to go, with expectations it will only be ready to fight for the crown from 2030. Audi made its 2026 F1 entry announcement 3 years ago at the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix, but there's been no shortage of change, both on the Sauber and Audi sides since then. With Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, now a substantial minority shareholder in the team, and plans for a new UK engineering hub to capitalize on the technical talent in Silverstone's Silicon Valley. But while Audi exists to win, Binotto says it will be a long process.
Certainly there is a lot of expectations. Everybody may expect Audi to be very strong in 2026, but I think we clearly state that our aim is somehow to fight for a championship in 2030, and it will take several seasons to be ready for it. What's important now is to progress each single season, to develop from now to 2020 to 2030.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.